So, you want to work with animals? Well, in this video, I'm going to go through all the pros and cons of working with animals using my experience of the last 15 years working with birds of prey and exotic animals. So let's start with the positives. And the first positive is probably the very reason why you want to work with animals in the first place. It's because you love animals and you think it'll be a really rewarding and fulfilling job. Well, I think you're right. I've been doing this for many, many years, but I never get tired of flying birds of prey, handling reptiles, and doing presentations at events. The second positive is that it's actually really stress relieving. It's been proven that spending time amongst nature is a great way of reducing down your stress levels. And in fact, I've gone even further than that to say it can really help with mental health. Over the years, I've had dozens and dozens of people come and volunteer for me or work for me who have admitted to suffering from anxiety or depression in their lives. And those sorts of people are drawn to working with animals because it's a natural way of remedying that. And therefore another fantastic positive to working with animals. And the third positive is it can be quite a good living for you. There are some jobs that aren't that well paid in working with animals. However, if you get the right job in zoos or in dog kennels or with horses or something else, then you can earn a reasonable living. Something that would certainly satisfy those three Fs. The fundamental payments you have to make each month, the fun money you would need each month, and the future you money. For example, saving to buy a house or a salary that will support a mortgage. So now on to the negatives. Now there may be more negatives to working with animals than you realise, and I'll save the one at the end that most people don't usually think of. So the first would be that it's becoming increasingly more difficult to get into a career working with animals. There are so many people now going for jobs like that. It's really saturated, so you're going to have as many qualifications and as much experience as possible to get you to look as best as possible when it comes to interview. And if you're thinking of going down the self-employed route like I have, that's also harder than it used to be, because now for the licensing, the recently new licensing, we do require to show evidence of training and qualifications as well as an ongoing personal development. Now that's great for animal welfare, just makes it a bit harder for people like yourself to get into working with animals. The second negative is that it can be rather unsociable hours. Lots of weekends, early starts, late nights, maybe even some night shifts. Now that's not so bad if you're free and single, but if you have children or you're wanting to start a family one day, then it can impede on your social life and your family life. And of course we all want a decent balance of work and social life if we can. The third negative, and it's kind of a small one but worth mentioning, is that there is also an increasing number of people out there who don't like zoos and they don't like pet shops and they just don't like people making money out of animals, and that's fine if they have that opinion. However, there are some people in that group who feel it necessary to come and abuse the people working with animals, to loudly protest and things like that. They can get quite irate. Now, every year I have millions of people, let me repeat that, I have every year millions of people come and see my birds of prey in action. And each year we probably only get maybe 2 people like that. So it's a really, really tiny amount of people who would ever come and try to upset us like that. Now I'm perfectly fine, I'm thick-skinned, but if you're someone who doesn't really like engaging with people in that way, finds it difficult, then it could be a negative for you. Which leads me nicely on to the last negative, the one that maybe you didn't think of. You might want to work with animals because you don't really like the idea of working with people. You're not a great people person, you feel maybe awkward around people sometimes, your social skills aren't where you'd want them to be, and so you think working with animals will help with that. Well, I'm afraid you're going to be wrong there, because in most cases, when you're working with animals, you have to work with people quite a lot too. In fact, when you think about it, it's the people who are paying the money for you to earn a living working with animals. This might be with other team members, and whenever you get more than sort of 6 team members in one group, you start to get some issues usually, and that's something you'd have to deal with. And of course, members of the public and customers as well. A lot of working with animals is about delivering great customer service, and that's something that at Owl Adventures we're doing all the time. School visits, care home visits, mobile zoo parties, flying shows in front of thousands of people. That means working with really young children from 3 or 4 years old right up to the elderly in the care homes and everyone in between. It's one mixed bag of people from all walks of life. Well, I hope you found that useful, and please do comment below with any questions you have about working with animals. I'm planning on producing many more videos on this topic, so if you've got any video idea suggestions, please put them in the comments below as well. And if you think this could be useful for you, then please hit subscribe and the notifications bell, and this will make sure you never miss a video. As always, thanks for watching.